Good morning, everybody. As you can see on my background, this is Sandeep sir presenting you with the second part of the Nazism and the rise of Hitler. In my first part, I've already talked about why Hitler was so furious to take the revenge. Who was Adolf Hitler? Why is he considered as one of the dreadful dictators the world has ever seen? About all these things in detail, we will be studying and talking about in the later part. But so far, what we have seen, the recapitulation of the part 1, is that the First World War, we had tried to throw light on the First World War, the conditions and circumstances of the First World War, the parties or the belligerent group during the First World War that fought between 1914 and 1918. After that, we have talked about why Germany was so humiliated at the end of the First World War. Two-fold reasons have been given in that respect. Is first of all, the Central Powers got defeated, and being the leader of that Central Power, the most visible face, the Germany, became red-faced on account of the defeat. But even more torturous and humiliating was the Treaty of Versailles, or the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles. In the Treaty of Versailles, Germany had to surrender a lot of its resource-rich areas to those countries who, till yesterday, were being defeated, or in the first half of the First World War, they had been defeated into the hands of Germany or the Central Power forces. Germany also was being largely demilitarized in order to prevent any future expansion or invasion in future by Germany. Plus, the most humiliating clause of the first Treaty of Versailles was that war guilt clause, during which or in which Germany was being held guilty for the outbreak of the First World War, and as a result, a huge compensation was charged from Germany. That was £6 billion. Okay, so Germany was literally not in a position to give all these things, because that war is stretched over 4 long years, and everybody had drained, about the entire Europe, you may say, were drained out of resources, and being the defeated nation, Germany was even more empty. So there was no reason of how would Germany pay all these money to or the amount to the Allied forces. That is one side. That is the background of why Hitler wanted to take revenge. The second part that we have talked about is actually the Adolf Hitler. When the First World War broke out, he was the part of German army. He joined there as a messenger, and later on elevated himself to a higher position and rank, thanks to his brave and committed work. And but then, being a defeated soldier of the defeated nation, he was been feeling very bad, and this humiliation at the Treaty of Versailles made him even more furious. He wanted to take revenge of that one. But in order to take revenge, he need to be in complete command of the country. He need to be at the helm of the affairs, and for that one, he need to form the government, and he must be in the steering wheel of that government. Means he need to be the captain of the ship. He attempted. First of all, in the beginning, he joined that Nazi party. Actually, that was been named by German Socialist Workers' Party. Later on, he has renamed it as the Nazis, popularly known as Nazis, and he became the leader of that one. He completely commanded and controlled the party and the party members. Everything was under his control, and it was actually the Nazis, means the ideology of the Nazi party is actually the Hitler's ideology that we are going to see in the when we go deeper into the chapter. Now, once he had controlled that one, he attempted a revolt, first of all, in Bavaria, and that revolt was been subdued. It was actually been He could not win that revolt. He wanted to capture the power in Berlin, the capital of Germany, but he was been put into the jail, and but then finally later on freed also. But he could not attain the power through that military coup or the revolt or sort of a thing. Then he attempted the democratic method of coming to the power, and he contested election actually. His Nazi party contested election. In 1928, when the election to the Reichstag, the parliament of Germany, was held, his party performed very badly and poorly. There were plenty of reasons behind all that. Weimar Republic, which was the republic, and it became very unpopular. The people had lost the faith into the government and the democracy, and the country was already been overburdened into the war, and many real life factors were more dominating, and the very important thing was that the people did not have the faith in democracy anymore. But then in 1931, when the second 1931-32, when the second time, the next time when the election was once again held, this party actually won over with overwhelming majority and with 37% vote in Reichstag, and finally it was entitled to form the government, invited by the contemporary president of Germany, Mr. Hindenburg, and he was been invited and made the Chancellor of Germany. So he was on the way to control the affairs of Germany. Once he became the Chancellor, he was looking for the opportunity to take the complete control of the government and the political mechanism of Germany. Okay. For that means, to put it simple, he wanted to become a dictator, but because being a non-democratic ruler, he would be in complete position to dictate terms, and that exactly he wanted in order to take revenge first. And revenge was a very small agenda. It was somewhere not there, anywhere you may say, but then some of his actions were just forcing us to accept the fact that he was somewhere revengeful towards that allied forces also. But the second side was very important, was that he wanted Germany to be a superpower. And here you can acknowledge his effort of Adolf Hitler, simply because a person dreaming of making Germany a superpower in those days when it was completely been first of all a defeated nation. It had been drained out of the resource. The people were not or had lost the faith in the government. Okay, so conditions were completely opposite of what he thought of. But not only has he made Germany the superpower, but he had also dictated terms till his death. And as I have told in my first part of this chapter, that this person was, Adolf Hitler was the person who was largely responsible for the Second World War that fought between 1939 and ended in 1945. However, we are in this chapter not going to discuss in detail about that one. We are actually been talking about Nazism and why Adolf Hitler is so furious. What was that idea of Nazism? So, which is somewhere based on the pillar of that he wanted Germany to be at the top of the world, and for that one he had made certain agenda in the mind. The first one is to control the political, or have the political control of the country. He was already been the Chancellor of Germany. He became the Chancellor of Germany on 30 January 1933. But then looking for the opportunity to make Germany or transform Germany into another political side, that is non-democratic. He wanted to control, to put it simple, he wanted to control that power. Then a mysterious fire broke out in German parliament, Reichstag, okay, and he was he got that opportunity. He had declared the emergency. He had passed a fire decree on 28th February 1933, and he has suspended all those fundamental rights or all those constitutional rights that had been provided to the people of Germany by the Weimar Constitution. It was all happened, and taking the advantage of this emergency situation, which was there. Now, whether that was really an emergency situation or he had created that one is another debatable point. But he took the advantage of that mysterious fire broke out in German parliament, and later on 3rd March 1933, first of all, during that emergency period, what he did, he started coming heavily on everybody whom he considered as his enemy. Communist, socialist, all those supporters of democracy, Catholics, and everybody else were being put into the jail or later on been sent into the concentration camp. It was actually concentration camp created in Nazi Germany was a confined space. That confined area where it was been surrounded by the barbed wires, and it was electrocuted also. That is, the electric supply, the current was been supplying into those barbed wires, and anybody put into there cannot escape out of the place unless the Nazis command did not command, and that command was not being given. So he had a very clear mindset. He had categorized and divided the people of Germany in two parts. One is the desirable, another is undesirable. Around 52 types of the people, Catholics, communists, socialists, democratic supporters, gypsies, and then all these people. Likewise, those who were mentally and physically disabled, also those Germans, they were also been, first of all, we will be discussing when the Nazis started that making of the idea of racism in detail about that. So he first of all made a category of 52 different types of the people as undesirables, and all those undesirables under very inhuman circumstances we have been packed in the concentration camp and persecuted systematically and were been killed. So on 3rd March 1933, he had passed one act. First of all, he need to become a dictator. He had passed one act, the act called the Enabling Act. That was a very important one, 3rd March 1933. The most famous or infamous, whatever you may call it, the Enabling Act was passed. And this act has given the power to, and thereby he had completely dismantled democracy and became dictator. Okay, so this is mysterious fire broke out in Reichstag, and then on 28 February 1933, he had passed that famous fire decree. And then on 3rd March 1933, he passed the Enabling Act and thereby became the dictator of Germany. Once he became the dictator of Germany, he started relishing all his goals. First of all, he wanted to put into the minds of the people about the wrongdoings committed in the name of the First World War by those Allied forces. And in Nazi Germany, the most hated, I have already told that 52 types of the categories of the people were been put under the category of undesirables, and the most hated of them were the Jews. The Jews were badly persecuted and hugely killed in the Nazi Germany. Okay, so in order to understand that, we need to go through the idea of Nazism. Okay. Professor, I need some water. So then he started relishing all he started. What he did, he had first of all divided the Germany in desirables and undesirables. Now undesirables were being persecuted, they were being killed, but that is one of his goals. It was not all over. Okay. Second part, those who are being desired by me, I want to groom them according to myself, so that whatever I would be teaching them and telling them or commanding them, they are ready to execute those commands without any further argument or without any second thought. So he started making a pseudo-scientific theories. He had borrowed one theory from the Charles Darwin's Origin of Species and another the Herbert Spencer's the theory called Survival of the Fittest, and then explained those theories in his own ways. According to the Origin of Species, we have in the different domains of Earth, that is we have a terrestrial animal, we have aquatic animal, we have arboreal organisms, and nobody has been intervening into other areas, because that intervention would be finally perishing the species who are alien to that area. Okay. He had tried to convince that in Germany only Germans are allowed to live. But then who are those Germans? Not all those who are living in Germany. He had made a category, and that particular category is the physical appearance of the people. He had told, according to that idea of racism, in his opinion, that those who have the blue eyes, those who have blondie hair or the blonde hairs, that is golden hair, and fair skin, these are the three very compulsory criterion made by him. If you don't have the blue eyes, if your skin color is not white, and if you don't have the blonde hair or the golden hair color, you are not considered as human beings. And if you are not human being, how come you are expecting the human treatment? Because in the Origin of Species, Charles Darwin, the theory of evolution picture, if you would have seen that one animal, then standing animal, finally like this one, and then Homo sapiens. Okay. So just second last from here was who? Say for the ape. Ape you'd have heard about, Banmanus. Now Banmanus, you see if you go for the Sandhi Viched or the bifurcation of this word, Banmanus, a type of a manus living in the Ban, that is living in jungle. In those days, in the early times, everybody were been living in jungles, of course. Sorry. So in those days, they were been living in jungles, and thank you. So those who were living in jungle are now Banmanus is a species today. Ape is an species. Ape is a species today. Similar to monkey, have many traits and characters of human beings, advanced brain, thinking also like human beings, behaving sometimes like human beings. But then you see one word is actually been, I am repeating time and again, is like human beings, but not human beings. So in his opinion, you may look like human beings, but in my opinion, you are actually not human beings. So how come you are deserving and desiring the human treatment? You are still subhuman. Okay, means you are on the way of becoming human. If you have a black hair, if you have a dark skin, if your eyes color is black, it means that you are looking like human beings. You are on the way to become human being, but you are not human being. And in my opinion, who are human beings in the real sense are the Nordic German Aryans. And the physical appearance of the Nordic German Aryans were that blue eyes, white skin and blondie hair. And they are only been deserving to survive, and the rest others either leave the country. Suppose in your house, if a monkey comes or if an ape comes and behaving in a very mannered way, cultured way, okay, would you permit that monkey or that ape to live with you and and started having all sharing entire things that you share with the other family members? You may make it a pet. You may have a good friendship with them. That is an exceptional case, not a general common phenomena. But then still you are been not treating them. You may call that they are like your family members. There are many pets domesticated by the many human beings, but then the final statement that they used to give is that they are like my family members. They are not my family members. When you introduce your family members to any third person, you are telling he or she is my family member, he, she is such and such. Never ever used to say that he is like my family. It means that you have been making the person or the thing alien to your family. And that is what he was treated. He was treating everybody else. Now, rest others, and second theory, because which species survived on the earth today? Since the age of dinosaurs or the reptiles first appeared on the earth, there would have been many macroscopic and macroscopic species that had taken place, that had taken birth, rather not place, that had taken birth. Would have been, some of them would have been surviving till death. Some of them had dinosaur, for example, is been considered as one of the most ferocious reptile on this earth. Mammoth, another, it's almost similar to that of elephant in look-alike. But these animals have extinct. Why? Because they could not survive or could not adjust and adapt with the changing atmosphere and environment. What he told, in other words, who are been surviving today? Those who are the fittest. So two things that you have to do. One thing, I don't consider you as my family member. So you are not allowed to live in my country. I don't consider you as human being. So you are not allowed to live in the company of a human being. First thing. Second thing, you may object. So this is also my country. There are many people of late. There are many unwanted people are also living and residing in India, and our government has been trying to sort it out through that NRC, and there are many things coming in order to make them that you need to record and say that whether you are being the part of India or the citizen of India or not. Otherwise, you will be given the shelter. You will be treated as refugee and etc. Okay, but then I am not going to accept you as my citizen. Okay, CA and NRC you would have been heard and read about of late. So why this? That is what the same thing that he told, that I am not considering you as the citizen. You may object, this objection and protest, and that is why very smartly he first of all, though he became the Chancellor of Germany in a democratic way, but then he dismantled all structures of democracy, taking the advantage of that mysterious fire and then passing that fire decree and passing that enabling act. Once he made Germany a dictatorial country, nobody can first of all ask the question. Now the second thing, you can protest, you can fight, you will say that I will not go out of the country, do whatever you may. Then okay, then we will be fighting and killing. If you can protect and defend yourself, fine, defend it. And in the bout between you and I, who will be surviving? the surviving person will be the fittest one. And that is what? Survival of the fittest. You are first of all not allowed to stay in Germany. You don't deserve to stay here. Either you leave the country by yourself, or you will be made to leave, or you will be killed. Okay. So how can I kill you? Suppose a peacetime project has been going on. If I kill somebody, I will be charged with the murder. There is the international community. I am not a barbarian. We are living in a civilized world. So any barbaric activities by even in the by the country's government also cannot be accepted in this civilized world. The other international powers would have intervened into that and putting pressure. You'll have to surrender and leave that particular policy. The apartheid policy is the sterling example of that one. We had already studied in your political science chapter. That was also the inhuman practice of a racial discrimination, especially to South Africa, where the blacks were been treated very badly, inhumanly and poorly by the whites in South Africa. But then after that they staged a protest under the banner of African National Congress, and partly because of the internal protests and external international pressures and sanctions. So international community will also start taking interest if you are doing something against a particular community in your country that is being sometimes called as the violation of human right. Okay, you cannot say outrightly that it's my internal matter, I will be killing or pushing them out of the country. Who are you to tell me? But then somebody will come. This is what the civilization is all about. But then suppose if I am murdering somebody today, I will be charged with murder and I will be punished in accordance with the law. But what is a soldier doing in the battlefield? If you go by that one, that is also a murder, that is also a killing. But that is the duty, that is martyrdom. If somebody is being killed, is called martyrs, not a, and the person who is killing are called the soldiers, not murderers. So I am waiting for that war opportunity and taking the advantage of that war. I will be just exterminating all my undesirables. And he started coming very heavily on all these undesirables. Okay. So finally, he took this two theories of Charles Darwin, the famous natural scientist, and sociologist Herbert Spencer, and taking the advantage of that one, he only made a system in which only the Nordic German Aryans were allowed to flourish and the rest were being exterminated and persecuted. So what was that Nazism? What was that Nazis' idea of propaganda? How did he persecute them? And why he was so a grateful dictator? That on that particular side we will be throwing light, that first of all extermination side, and then those who left there in Germany, that is desirables, is now the training of the desirables. I don't want you in my life, fine. That is one way. I want a particular person in my life because I want that person to live in my life and behave in my life the way I want him or her to behave. And I hate you for some reason, so I don't want to be in my life. So first of all, I would be telling you to please get out of my life. If you are not getting out, I will be pushing you out of my life. But my one target has been over. That is, I have gotten rid of you. But that does not mean my work or the task has been completely accomplished. Those whom I want in my life, that is desirables, I need to train them the way I want them to behave and act, because my final purpose was to see Germany at the top of the world. How and what he had done, all these things, how did he do all these things, and what steps he had taken, and the further part of the Nazism in my conclusive episode, the final part, I will be throwing light on all these things. Till then, keep connected and take very good care of yourself. Bye.